To all the parents out there, you gotta pick your spots. When it comes to doing stuff with your family, with your kids, you have to pick your spots. To be more clear, you have to understand that you only have 24 hours in a day and you only do so many activities, events, things for yourself personally, which is probably going to come at a minimum. You got to pick your spots. I was talking to somebody recently who had a very wise saying, and this person, someone who also has several kids, and she's running back and forth doing all these things, appointments, events, activities, etc. And she said to me something very profound. She said that every time you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else. There's a thing called scarcity. We can't do everything that we want at all times. We don't have the money, the resources, the time. It's just impossible. I'm saying all this to tell you guys, if you haven't been doing so already, you got to learn to say no sometimes. Pick a few things, and tell this to your kids too. Pick a few things and tell them that, hey, you can't be there for everything. If you want to do every single sport, play every single instrument, do every single activity, it just doesn't work that way. And parents, you need to step up and tell them the same thing, because you're the one, especially if you have younger kids, you're the one driving, traveling, paying dues for all these clubs and events. So you're the starting point. And your kids might be mad at you because they can't sign up for football, basketball, baseball, track, everything at the same time. And they might only be able to pick one or two of them at best. They're going to be mad at you. They'll be like, Dad, I wish I could do this. Mom, I wish I could do that. I wish. And they'll be mad. They'll be frustrated at you. But guess what? You're the one that pays the bills, and you're the one that does the driving. So you dictate that. Where parents, and I'll just say in a larger scale, guardians, caretakers, foster parents, everything, where you get so twisted up and overstressed is you try to be everything at once. And when you do that too much, you forget about the basics, teaching your kids good manners and discipline, making sure that they're well fed and clothed. Yes, you can neglect stuff like that because you're so busy worrying about the extracurricular activities. And you got to bring it back. You got to have balance in your life. Because if you don't, a couple things are going to happen. One, you're going to burn yourself out as a parent, of course, whether it be running out of money or running out of sanity. And two, your kids are not going to know how to properly deal with disappointment. You know, every once in a while, as much as I try to be at every event, every recital, etc. for my kids, every once in a while, there's an event that I have to miss. And by the way, it's not because I'm a workaholic that feels like I always have to grind to overcompensate for my shortcomings and I got to work 80, 90, 100 hours a week. That's not it at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's very important to have a good work and life balance. What I'm trying to say is that there are going to be times where the schedule just conflicts. And I'm not always going to move heaven and earth just to be back and forth at something, especially if it's not super duper vital or relevant. Occasionally, you're going to miss an event. You're going to miss a practice. You're going to miss a recital, etc., etc. So prioritize which ones are important. You know, there are sometimes events where I'm able to make it and my wife isn't, or vice versa, depending on the circumstance. You got to pick and choose. As long as you make the vast majority of them, which I'm sure most concerned parents do, you're going to be all right. I highly doubt there's a situation where your kids are going to grow up, they're going to be 30, 35 years old, laying on a therapist's couch going, oh, my life is ruined because out of the 117 violin recitals, my dad missed one back in 2013 or something like that. They're not going to remember that stuff. They'll remember the core of what you meant with them, which means all the quality time that you spent, the lessons that you taught them, the time that you spent raising them, hopefully in a biblically sound way. That stuff will resonate more than anything. They're not going to focus and nitpick on one event unless somehow you made it chaotic. And I don't know what that means. Maybe you went to a soccer game and you were drunk and you were yelling at the ref for making a bad call or something like that. You know how some parents can be at these events. But if that's not the case, your kids are going to remember that you did your best effort. And by the way, if you do have to miss those events or you do have to cancel something, if you have a reasonable excuse or explanation for that, okay, that makes sense. Hey, I couldn't make this because I had to work hard to support you for something like that. And it's not for extracurricular stuff. It's not to get extra overtime so I can buy a yacht or something like that. It's because I literally needed to do this and do work so we could pay our bills. If you're missing stuff because you're working and grinding hard, the American dream, so to speak, and you're missing stuff, base level stuff, because you're going above and beyond because you want luxuries, your kids aren't going to remember that. They're not going to be worried about that. And by the way, you can't buy that time back. You can't give your kid a bunch of toys, trinkets, video games, iPhones, and all this kind of stuff and think it's going to make up for all that lost time that you missed because you were selfish and you were too self-absorbed. Now, again, if you legitimately miss something for a reasonable concern, an emergency, a work situation that you absolutely can't get out of despite your best efforts, they'll understand that and they know that you give your best efforts. But not to get too far away from my main message, guys, parents in general, you have to pick your spots. You can't do everything, you can't be everything, you can't be everywhere. You're not omnipotent. You're not God, okay? You trust in Him, you trust in the Lord to cover your bases, but you physically being there, you can only be at one place at a time. So some of you might need to sit down and have a conversation with your kids who are involved in like 9 activities and be like, okay, I'm gonna break it down to you. I only have so much money, time, gas in my car. Pick 2 or 3 things that we can reasonably do and understand even within those, you might miss a practice sometime. You might miss a meet or an event sometimes. This club that you're in, they might have a Christmas party or a cupcake get together or something like that, and you might have to leave early for some reason. And especially if you've got more than one kid and they have conflicting events, you might have to leave early for stuff. You might have to arrive late for stuff. You parents that are in the middle of this, you already know this, but you might be trying too hard to squeeze everything in at the risk of your sanity. If you're doing so, stop it. Your kids aren't going to remember how insane you were from doing so many activities. They'll know that you tried your best and you legitimately missed stuff for legit reasons. And by the way, if you're missing stuff because of illegitimate reasons, gambling issue, pornography addiction, alcohol, whatever it might be, some sort of illicit issue, that's where you really need to repent and find the Lord and correct, change direction. But if you're legitimately missing things because of something that's out of your control and necessary, your kids will understand if you make the best effort. But don't spread yourself too thin. Don't put on too many hats. The most important thing that you should be, and I'm especially talking to you guys here, is dad. That's the first thing you should be. Not coach, not chauffeur, not event planner, not party planner. All those things could be part of the role. First and foremost, everyone should be recognizing that they're a child of the Most High God. When it comes down to your role, you be dad first. You be there with a hug, with a shoulder to cry on, with a high five, with a fist bump, with an encouraging word, first and foremost. Because again, they're not going to remember those 50 different roles that you did when you're all burnt out, exhausted, and angry. So guys, please, I hope you get what I'm talking about. Don't spread yourself too thin. Care about your kids, but understand sometimes you have to pick your spots. All right? God bless you. Peace.